Hi there, my name is Adam, and welcome to my studio. I was recently given this issue of Uppercase magazine by a friend who had an extra copy. And I've seen this magazine before and haven't perused it in a while, so I was happy to have it. I love the smell of the ink, but that's just my little graphic designer heart talking. There was one thing in particular, and in the back of the magazine there was an invitation to make something with the craft envelope that the magazine came in. So I thought I would give it a try and take you along with me. I got out my collection of acrylic paints. I love to use them because the colors are really intense and they dry really quickly. I actually use a piece of canvas for my palette because I feel like once I get all those wonderful colors on there, I have a really great base for a new art project. And I always feel it's important to start off with a fresh, sharp X-Acto blade. That's the safest option. Ask me how I know. Instead of ripping it apart, I decided that it would be better to cut it to size for the project that I have in mind, which of course I'll show you at the end of the video. I started sketching out the idea of what I had to use this for. Just sort of a rough sketch of a village skyline. I like to use a spatula or an old credit card to spread the paint out on the project. I just feel like with acrylic paints, they get stuck in the brushes and you end up ruining the brush. I feel like with something like a spatula or a credit card, you can get the paint off much easier. And of course, after I put my base color of paint on, I realized I'd covered up my sketch. So another opportunity to try a different skyline. When I was ready to add color, I started by adding a few different shades of blue. Then I mixed up the parchment with Payne's Gray to come up with a really nice, cool blue-gray. And it was at this point that I realized I hated the direction that I was going in. So I just decided to scrape all the paint together. And even though I really kind of like this grungy backdrop, I ultimately decided I wanted something fresher and cleaner. So I went back to adding the parchment color to it. I also pulled out some old book pages that I have so that I could create a collage. Kind of going for a wintry scene, so I felt like the newsprint quality of this old dictionary sort of gave a kind of a gray day background. I'm using some gloss medium to adhere the pages to the craft paper. I started by creating a completely solid base of pages, adding another layer of gloss medium, and then attaching more pages, but in a random angled fashion. And I found a couple of illustrations in the dictionary that I just thought were kind of fun and quirky. And the last little bit of medium to seal it in. I let this dry for quite a bit and even put it in front of the heating vent to make sure it was nice and dry. I trimmed off all the extra overhanging pieces and I cut some windows in to all the little houses. Felt it needed a little dressing up, so I got out a black Posca pen and added a little bit of adornment to some of the rooftops and the windows. And created little hanging art pieces from the illustrations. And one little adornment, a little heart in this beautiful color of blue. And here's what I plan to use this for. I'm going to use it as a covering for this frosted side table lamp that we have. I thought it would be a nice addition to any winter holiday decorations that we have in the house. Wanted to make sure that this would fit on snugly, but I wasn't certain that I'd be able to get it perfect. So I decided to thread some elastic band through the back, sort of like a corset, so that it would give it some play, so that it could expand around it but also stay stuck. And that's it. My craft envelope has become a holiday decor. I really like the way the soft light comes through the open windows and creates the glow of the skyline. And here it is in place. Thank you so much for joining me on this video adventure. I hope you'll come back to my studio anytime.